Hello everyone and welcome to Math with Mo. So in this class I'm going to talk about solving quadratic equation. There are different ways to solve the quadratic equation. One way is by completing the square. Another way is by factoring, and the other way is using quadratic formula. So we have three ways to solve it, and in this class I'm going to talk about two of them. First, completing the square, and another one is by quadratic formula. Alright, so let's jump right in. I'm gonna show you the first one right now, but completing the square. Okay? By completing the square. And in order to do that, I'm gonna make an example. So I have an equation, equation x squared plus 6x plus 5 equal 0. Now, how can I solve that? Right? First step. In the beginning, I'm gonna put in the bracket the first two terms. X squared plus 6x and then plus 5 equal 0. Now, pay attention. I can only do that if the coefficient of x squared is 1. Right? If it's not 1, I have to factor that. And then go with these steps. Okay? So that's important. It's only if a, which is coefficient of x squared, is 1. If not, factor. And then proceed. Okay? Here. B. I'm gonna divide the coefficient of x by 2 and then multiply it by itself. So I have x squared plus 6x. 6 divided by 2 is 3, right? And 3 squared is 9. So I'm gonna have plus 9 minus 9. So what I did here, I just added and subtracted half of the coefficient of the x power 2. That's what we're gonna do for completing the square. Okay? In the third step, I'm gonna take this minus 9, the subtracted one, out. So I will have x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus 5 minus 9 equal 0. Now take a look at this. Whenever you do that, you will see a complete square here. So instead of that, I can write x plus 3 squared. And I have minus 9 plus 5 is minus 4 equal 0. Now I can easily solve this. I'm going to write it up here again. I have x plus 3 squared minus 4 equal 0. I can add plus 4 in both sides of the equation. So I will have x plus 3 squared equal 4. And I'm going to square root both sides of the equation. So I have x plus 3 equal plus minus 2. This is important. So when I square root, I'll have plus minus 2. Why is that? Because this 4 can be made by multiplication of minus 2 to minus 2 or plus 2 to plus 2. Right? So I have plus minus 2. Then I have two equations, two simple ones. X plus 3 equal 2. X plus 3 equal minus 2. X minus 1. X minus 5. There I have it. I have two answers to this quadratic equation, right? So that was the first way to solve this equation. The next, another way actually to solve the quadratic equation by using a quadratic formula, right? So the general form of a quadratic equation can be written as ax squared, I'm going to change this, can be written as ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And the answer to this equation can be driven with this formula: x equal to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So in the example that we had x squared plus 6x plus 5 equal 0, right? How can I solve this with this? So x is equal to minus b. What is b? 6 minus 6 plus minus square root of b squared, 6 squared minus 4 ac. A is 1 here, c is 5 over 2a. A is 1 again, 2 multiplied by 1. So x gonna be minus 6. Oh, I'm sorry about this. X gonna be minus 6 plus minus square root of 36 minus 20 over 2, which is going to be equal to minus 6. So under the radical sign we have 36 minus 20, which will be 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So minus 6 plus minus 4 divided by 2. So basically I'll have two answers. 1, 2. Why? Because I have plus minus. So for the plus one, I'll have minus 6 plus 4 divided by 2, which is minus 1. For the other one, I have minus 6 plus minus 4 over 2 minus 5. So they are the same answers that we got from completing the square. Now you might ask a question. Where did this come from? Right? Where did this come from? I'm gonna tell you. So why I started explaining completing the square and this formula was because this formula actually coming from the solution that we have for completing the square. How? Let's check it out. So I'm going to just write this one here. Minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay. So let's imagine that I want to complete the square for this one. So remember I said the coefficient of x squared should be 1 to proceed with those steps. So in order to get there, I'm gonna factor I factor it, x squared plus b over ax plus c over a equal 0. Now I'm gonna follow those steps. So what was step number 1? Put the first two terms, like x squared and x with this coefficient, into a bracket, right? So I will have a x squared plus b over ax plus c over a equals 0. The second step, I'm gonna add and subtract half of the coefficient of the x squared of the half of the coefficient of the x. So that means I'll have x2 plus b over ax, right, plus b over 2a, half of it, power 2, minus b over 2a, power 2, close the bracket, plus c over a. Now we have a big bracket here, right? One thing I can do here, I can divide both sides of this equation divide both sides of the equation by a. And if I do that, I can get rid of a. And 0 divided by a, 0. So to just get rid of that a. Done. Now here, I also want to take b over 2a squared out, right? So I can have x2 plus b over ax plus b, 2a squared plus ca minus b over 2a squared equal to 0. Okay, this was our third step. Then, step 4. Now, this is a complete square, right? So I can write it as x plus b over 2a squared equal to, I'm going to take these two terms on the other side of the equation, b over 2a 2 minus c over a. Now I'm gonna square root from both sides of the equation. So I'll have x plus b over 2a plus minus square root of b2. I'm gonna calculate this, b squared and 4a2 minus c over a. X plus b over 2a. What is the common denominator here? b2. So I can multiply a by 4a and I'll have a common denominator, which is 4a squared. 4. So I'm gonna multiply both denominator and numerator by 4a. So 4ac. Okay? See? We're getting there. We're getting there. And this is plus minus. We don't forget that. And then I'll have x equal to. So 4a squared can come out as 2a, right? So I'll have plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a minus b over 2a. So at the end, what I'll have, x equals to there's a common denominator here. I can have minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And that's where this quadratic formula come from completing the square of the quadratic equation. So that was it for today. Now you know you can have a quadratic formula and completing the square to solve a quadratic equation. If you like this class, please subscribe to my channel and drop a comment down below, and I'll answer your questions. Until next time.